Welcome to the Busy Signal. My name is Jim, and this is my retro-nostalgic 80s, 90s, and early 2000s podcast. This show aims to salute all the stuff from back in the day that is either now extinct or quickly going that way. This week, we're digging into the old toy closet. My buddy George is back to talk board games. So this is part 2. If you missed part 1, you can pause this, go back to episode 14 for the first board games episode, or just keep listening because there's no order. It's all good. It doesn't matter which you listen to first. So let's see what games we can get into this time. Let's see what games you remember. George has a list. I have a list. Once again, we're going to play a game about the games we played when we were kids, to completely quote George from that last episode. We have no clue what games are on each other's list. And last time, we had each of us very unique games. We didn't have any crossover. So let's see if we can do that again, or if we both have the same games on our lists. George, welcome, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good. How you been? You been playing any games?
Oh, I play games pretty much every day. My poor kids, I've dragged them into so many games. So I love talking about this topic, and I'll be when we do our retro podcast of the 2020s, we'll be talking about the games I'm playing now.
That's true. That's a good way to put it. All right, so you want to roll the dice? Let's see who goes first. I think you're up first. All
right. Well, I wanted to start with a game that I think maybe I logged more time playing than any other game of my youth. Jim, do you remember starting lineup sports figures?
Yes, I do remember them. They were like figurines, like, right? And they had a little base that they stood on.
Baseball players and stuff like that. Well, starting lineup combined with Parker Brothers to make the starting lineup talking baseball. You can find this on eBay. It looks like a baseball stadium, and on either side, it's got like a little keyboard, and you could actually play baseball against another person, or you could actually play against yourself. And I will tell you, Jim, I spent hours upon hours playing this as a kid. I can remember exactly how it started. It said, Parker Brothers Baseball. It's the national team and the American team. And it would just go on and on. You'd start off, it would be the National League All-Star team versus the American League All-Star team. I can tell you the entire lineups that were there. It came with like these little cartridges that you could plug in, and you could play as individual teams. Now, I'm right outside of Philadelphia, so I always played with the Phillies. I always played with Mike Schmidt because he was my boy. But man, I played this game for hours, mostly by myself. But every once in a while, I'd be able to drag somebody in there with me, and it was awesome, and it was so much fun.
Clemens pitches to Winfield. High and inside.
Hold it!
It's starting lineup talking baseball, and you're in control.
What's the problem?
Roger, fastball, low and inside.
You control 40 superstars. Make Roger Clemens throw a fastball or a curve. Have Dave Winfield bunt or hit for power. A real announcer calls the action.
Winfield waits.
Hold it!
Well, kid.
Starting lineup talking baseball. What they do is up to you.
I definitely remember the figurines. I'm thinking I might just remember the commercial for the baseball game, which sounds amazing. Did it give like stats? Was there like?
It didn't really keep stats because it wasn't that advanced. So basically, you would like put in what kind of pitch you'd want to throw, and then there was at home plate had 9 lights, and it would light up. And you had to hit the button that corresponded with the light that was on. And if you got it just right, you'd hit the ball. So you'd hit a home run or a double or stuff like that. And it was awesome. On top of that, like I have a problem with board games is I like to figure out the weakness in every game and exploit it. Well, I did this with Parker Brothers Baseball too. The Cubs had a relief pitcher who the year that this was made had 2 at-bats, and he went 1 for 2. So he was a 500 hitter that season.
Oh, wow.
Now, he was a terrible hitter in real life.
Right.
But the game thought he was the greatest hitter of all time. So I would make this guy the leadoff hitter all the time because he'd get on base half the time, according to this game. So like you could find ways to to fudge it, and man, it was a lot of fun. I let my kids play with it because it's still working, it's still operational. I popped some fresh batteries in there, and they loved it too, man. We would sit there and play it together. They didn't know any of the players, but man, did they have a fun time playing.
That's a really funny story that you figured that out, and that's really amazing. I have to go look that up now. I had a couple of the figurines. I think I might have had like Don Mattingly. I think I might have had a couple, because Yankees, on my end. So do you have one of the figurines? You have a couple of the figurines. For everybody listening, I see a couple of the figurines here. Tell me who you got.
There's Mike Schmidt. There's Mark McGwire.
Mark McGwire. Right. You don't have any Sammy Sosa to go with Mark McGwire?
I got a Ken Griffey around here too.
Oh, that's amazing. Griffey or Griffey Jr.?
Griffey Jr.
Okay. That's so funny. All right. What was that called again?
That was Parker Brothers Baseball. We're starting lineup Parker Brothers Baseball. And you can find it on eBay. Go on eBay. It's there. I think you could probably get one that's operational for like $40-$50, and it's fun. It's super retro, super nostalgic. As soon as you see it, you're gonna be like, oh man, that is so 80s.
That's amazing. All right, Parker Brothers starting lineup baseball. I have one from 1989, and it's an interesting board game because there's only one move you can make. That's it, and it's pressing one button, and then after that, it's up to luck. You don't know what's going on. Kind of like a Hungry Hippo situation where it's just chaos after like a second. It's Spinjas. Are you familiar with Spinjas?
No, I'm not. I don't remember this one at all.
Spinjas was really cool, and I still have my Spinjas. I don't have it near me, or else I'd show it to you. It looked like a little wrestling ring, and it was a box, and you'd open the box and you'd find two launchers, and there were two little figurines that fit into the launchers, and essentially what they were is they were tops. They had like this little brass bottom, and the top was like a little fighting figurine in like a little fighting pose. They'd have like their fist out or something like that, but not too far, because then you got to have balance. You would jam this guy into the launcher and twist it until the tension is there, and then you hold it over the ring. Your opponent holds theirs over the ring, and you press the button on the side of the launcher, and it spins and drops this guy into the ring, which is concaved. So now they're spinning. The best is when they start circling each other, and you don't know who's going to strike first. And then they start battling each other and bouncing into each other and bouncing off the ring walls. And it's really great when somebody gets thrown out of the ring and that person automatically loses. Or then you just keep hitting each other until somebody gets that knockout punch, and then boom, that other person they're not spinning anymore, and you're left there spinning in victory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the center of the earth, the dreaded Spinjas gather.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson this time, Buckeye.
Ah, your mother dresses your fun.
Oh yeah, fly face.
Yeah, helmet.
The world's fiercest warriors. Load 'em. Launch 'em in the arena. The battle's on.
I'll tell you, big sissy.
Try and catch me, sucker.
In your face.
The Spinjas game. The army of good, the army of evil. Collect 'em all.
Best 2 out of 3.
It's basically, it's so simple. It's two tops and little battle characters. They had armor on. They looked just so cool, and they were textured, and they came in different colors, and there was different color plastic battle rings. There was like a whole story that went along with it. But honestly, the gameplay was enough for me. Like, I just wanted to keep launching this thing. And, being a little boy, I would launch it on I would spin them on other things, other than the little board and stuff like that, and see how long it would spin for. It was real good. But if you could get somebody else to play with you, man, you'd probably be good at that for like a good half hour.
Yeah, it's funny. That reminds me, we used to do that at lunch, where we would take quarters and spin them. You knocked the other person's quarter off the table, you got the quarter.
Yeah.
We made a game out of gambling, but whatever.
No, but it was that simple, that it's just like two tops. I mean, how old school can you get? It's just two tops, technically. Awesome. But Spinjas. It was made by Tomy, Tomy, in Japan, but Parker Brothers ported it over here. So another Parker Brothers entry on our lists. So where are you going next?
Well, last time you told us about a game that made you want to rage quit, and I was like, I've played a fair amount of games that, even though I like, they kind of frustrate me. So my next one, I wanted to go there. Do you remember a game called Perfection?
Perfection. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So this was, if there was a game that would tick me off, or at least give me, like 5-6-year-old George give him anxiety. It was perfection. So the premise of the game is it had this little box that had all these different spots for different shaped pieces. And you set the timer. I think it was probably about a minute timer. And there was about 15 to 20 spots that you had to find the right piece and put them in there. And this is pretty much like if you remember when you were really little and you used to have the little Tykes thing where you had the shapes that you had to match up. Yes. It was pretty much just a grown-up version of that. But instead of, your teachers telling you did a good job, you got the timer going the entire time. So you're trying to find the moon shape and the star shape and the square shape, and then you're trying to get them in there, and the timer's going down. And if you don't get all the pieces in time to shut the timer off, it pops and it throws all your pieces all over the place.
Put the pieces into the slot, make the right selection, but be quick, you're racing the clock. Up goes perfection.
Perfection is the action-packed game where you race to fit the shapes into the slots, but you better be quick, or perfection will pop.
This piece here and that piece there, put those pieces everywhere, but be quick or beware. Up goes perfection.
I did it.
Perfection from Milton Bradley.
Now, I'm not OCD, but I'm a little anal retentive about cleanliness. So like this game drove me nuts because sometimes I would get all the pieces in there and forget to hit the button, and then it would shoot all my pieces everywhere anyway. So even when I won, sometimes I felt like I lost in this game. So it was fun. I'm not sure, it was nice little anxiety attack if you didn't quite get it done.
I was just going to say, I can imagine a lot of people's anxiety probably started with this game.
Yeah, I think that about a lot of games. Some of these things that we call fun are really just like, how much can we stress ourselves out in an already stressful life?
Right. Oh my gosh. It's like going to see a horror movie.
If I had a game that I enjoyed playing and at the same time hated playing, I think it was Perfection.
That's a good one. Once it throws all those pieces, that's a rage quitter. You're like, nope, I'm not putting that all back together again. I'm not picking them all up. Nope, done. We're done here. We'll visit this again in a month. And they had some weird shapes too.
It did. They had like 3 kind of stars. It wasn't fair. You're like, ah.
Yeah. Perfection is definitely it's a good one. But man, you know how like we talked last time that trouble was also called frustration. I feel like there probably had to have been another name in another country for perfection.
Yeah, they had another name for it. They just couldn't put it on the box.
Correct.
Appropriate.
All right. Perfection. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
We're playing Guess Who.
Oh, I love Guess Who.
Yes. 1979. It's an Israeli game. It was developed by Israeli game developers, but it was first released in the Netherlands. Then in the UK, Milton Bradley brought it over, and then they brought it over to the US in 1982. And basically, it is a classic questions and deductive reasoning game. Like, does your person wear glasses? Is your person bald? Or then there's the questions I would like to ask. Like, does your guy look like he smells bad? Does he look like he's been on America's Most Wanted? Stuff like that. I would like to always try and mess with people and ask these stupid questions. And every time your opponent answers no, you eliminate these characters that don't fit your question, and you have whittled down to some more tangible options of what your person or what the other person's pick was. Super simple. I mean, these games can go like 45 seconds sometimes.
Right.
I mean, the goal is to get it as quick as possible.
It's Guess Who,
the mystery face game.
The fun is trying to guess when you play Guess Who.
Is your person bald? Yes.
A very good question.
Does your person have a beard? Uh-huh.
An excellent clue.
The fun is trying to guess when you play Guess Who.
Do you wear glasses?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
That means it's not you.
Hold on.
Or you.
Bye-bye.
Or you.
Toodaloo.
I guess you're tied. You win. Let's play again.
The fun is trying to guess when you play Guess Who.
Game cards do not actually talk.
So you've asked me this question. I'm going to ask you this question. What is your strategy for Guess Who?
Oh, I am a divide in half. So basically every time I guess, I'm trying to cut the board in half. So I'm looking for a question that is going to get me close to as close to 50-50 as I possibly can, because I should be able to get to the point where I can guess on an individual person in 3 turns. And then you're down to like 3 or 4 people. And at that point, you're just you're taking a shot at that point.
Yes.
So I generally, that's what I go for. I know some people like to go for the jugular, and if you get it and you knock out 75% of the people, but most of the time you just end up taking 10 guesses.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of, are you male or female? Let's get that out of the way. And then you can look and see what attributes are left, and then see who has the most of this. Okay, half the people are wearing a hat. Yeah, are you wearing a hat? No? Boom, those people are gone. Absolutely, split it in half each time increases your rate of winning. I love that. I remember having a travel-sized version of this for car rides, and the difference, I think, was that instead of 24 characters, there was only 20 characters, and it was, the size of not that big. So
yeah, how do you pick out the features?
Yeah, it gets a little tough.
Well, I was gonna say, this is a game I play with my kids, except we have the Marvel version, so it is all Marvel characters.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it is really colorful, and you gotta really come up with some creative guesses, and you also gotta kind of know your Marvel universe, because you ask, hey, is this guy a villain? And they're like, well, is the Punisher a good guy or a bad guy? Yeah, he's like the anti-hero. What is it? Where does he fit?
Yep. Oh my goodness. All right, guess who on the list? Where are you going next, George?
All right. My final game today is a game called Shark Attack. I remember last time I was here, I told you about a game called Fireball Island that seemed to be based on Indiana Jones. Well, Shark Attack, there's no question what movie this game is based on. So basically, the premise of this game is you are a fish, and there's a bunch of different lanes. So you got enough for like 6 people to play this game, and each person is a different color fish. Behind you is this giant shark, or that's basically the shark head that's just going chomp, chomp, up and down. And it's a circular board, and the shark is chasing you around the board, and you're rolling dice frantically. And if you roll your color, your fish gets to move forward, and the other fish had to stay put. So and then you're grabbing the dice and throw. I mean, this game, it's like Hungry Hippos, but a lot scarier. Because when you're a little kid, it doesn't matter if it's on a board game or in real life. If there's a shark chasing you, you're scared. Yeah. So you're just rolling this, and you're rolling it off the table because you're so scared. And then everybody's scrambling to get the dice. Get it up here. Get it up here. Goodness. We got to roll again. And the shark just keeps coming. Chomp, 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 chomp. And I think the funniest thing about this whole game is if you watch the commercial, it's like a cartoon commercial, and it's so laughable.
Shark attack! This shark is like a maniac!
It's Shark Attack. Just roll the dice, and when your color comes up, move your fish fast.
The fish that survives will be the winner. So don't be last or you'll be the dinner. Shark attack! What are you gonna do? It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!
Sink your teeth into Shark Attack.
But the whole thing of the game is you gotta run because the shark is trying to eat you. And it's such a goofy game, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. It's really stressful but hilarious at the same time. It was a good 80s game.
Yes, and I specifically do remember that commercial. That's a classic commercial and a joy to watch every time because it's just really fun. It's a classic game commercial from the 80s that I remember being played on pretty heavy rotation. I actually never even played that game, but it looked like a lot of fun. Shark Attack in the books. Here we go. My last one. Pictionary. It's a traditional turn-based board game. It was a fun game. It came out in 1985. And kind of like Jenga was a good party game, Pictionary was a great party game because you already had enough players around to say, oh, we have this opportunity now to play Pictionary. There's enough people in the room. Did you ever play Pictionary?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I remember there was a period of time where you'd go to a party and Pictionary was just a part of parties. And that being said, I can't remember the last time I went to a party and people were playing Pictionary. But this was a staple of a lot of parties in my youth. And it was also a struggle because I'm just an absolutely horrible artist. Like I struggle to draw decent stick figures. So like anything that took any kind of skill, I was struggling. So it was like, it's embarrassing to get up there and people be like, what are you drawing? I was like, I'm not even sure I know what I'm drawing right now. So
Picture the blanket.
Oh, that's Aunt Rita. Thanks, my Aunt Rita.
Oh, savings and loans.
Save.
Okay, good. Save an apple. An apple a day. Save the earth.
That's a touching. Pictionary, the game that draws people together.
Pictionary had your objects, actions, there was difficult, and there was an all play, and there was a person, place, or animal categories. And from there, you got to pick that, and then you had to designate an artist. They had to draw, you had to guess. But while you were drawing, you could not talk to give any kind of clues to anybody else. And oh, by the way, just like perfection, you're being timed. So here's your anxiety. There's a little like, sands, through the hourglass timer here. So you just kind of felt the pressure to get people to guess. And if you were a terrible drawer, man, that just was even more fun. That was just, it was just fun to watch somebody just completely suck at drawing. And you're like, what was that? That, it was supposed to be the Eiffel Tower. Well, it looked like a slice of pizza, something like that.
I love when people get stuck and they keep drawing the same thing over and over again. They're like, clearly we didn't get it the first time. Maybe just draw something different just to entertain us at this point. We get that you're out of ideas. So that was always a lot of fun. Jim, what's your, like, if you could, what's one thing that you would say you're really good at drawing?
I can draw, I could draw the Roadrunner. I'm pretty good at that. I practiced that a lot as a kid, just drawing the Roadrunner over and over and over and over again. I could draw the Roadrunner, and that's about it.
Oh, there you go.
Drawing?
Well, that's something. I don't know that it's good. I'm decent at Optimus Prime. I mean, it's just a bunch of squares and rectangles, but like I spent a lot of time in school doodling Optimus Prime. That is cool.
I'm jealous about that. Roll out. Totally. Oh man, Transformers.
Well, when you're ready to do your Transformers episode,
I have to do a Transformers episode, and now that you said that, you've just inspired me to do one all the sooner. Fantastic. This is so good. I was just because we just went through Beast Wars, but that's aside. That's another episode. That's another episode. Rabbit hole. All right, George.
Don't get me started.
Thank you so much for joining me on board games. I appreciate it. Always fun. Once again, we had no crossover.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Believe it or not, I still got another half dozen games on my list too.
I do as well. And I think we're gonna, couple weeks, maybe a month, we'll do this again.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, buddy. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, George. We'll talk to you later, and go play some games.
I will.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's really fun to go back and remember all the fun and wacky games we played back in the day. And thanks again to my buddy George for hanging out today, taking the time out of his busy schedule to talk some really old school fun games. How many of these games did you play back in the day? Are there any that you never heard of? Did we unlock some memories? Are there any of these games that you have deep in a closet somewhere? It's time to dust those off and play a game, right? Like I mentioned, I still have my Spinges set. I'm definitely going to be posting a video of that soon on the Instagram, so look out for that. You can share your old school games and tag Busy Signal Cast. Let's see who's got what. I just want to say thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule to listen to this episode. It was a blast to make, so I hope you had fun listening. Cheers. Once again, I just want to say thanks for listening. And as always, you can listen to the Busy Signal everywhere quality podcasts are streamed. Hit the subscribe button to have a new episode delivered directly to your favorite device every other Friday. And if you really enjoy the show, leave a positive review. I don't know what that does, but would this be a real podcast if I didn't ask for that? You can also head over to Instagram and follow the show at Busy Signal Cast for even more retrostalgic content. I share a good amount of stuff that isn't mentioned on the episodes. And while you're there, say hi in the comments. And until next time, remember, reach out and touch the past.
Game cards do not actually talk.